All right, let's talk about Lamar Jackson, quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens, who I thought was great in this game. I don't know if he's maybe been as dominant this season as he has been in previous seasons, although he's still good. I think we've seen him look a little better. Like, for example, on this game, when I thought he was just outstanding, quite frankly, and this was MVP Lamar Jackson fully. The running game was working. Some of the throws he was making was outstanding. Just a fantastic day, I thought. So let's talk about why I am so high on this performance, and we'll start off with the running ability. Again, I am a believer in Lamar Jackson doesn't get enough credit for what he can do as a thrower, for sure. But, the running ability is still what makes this Ravens offense special. And when it's at its best, it's because they can do plays like this where, okay, you see how this can work. So going to be a running play to the offense's left. Watch as when Lamar takes the snap, he is going to run up in that direction. And you see how well this was blocked, which is just, a really well done play by Baltimore. Everyone was able to make their blocks, and Lamar does a good job of just kind of patiently waiting until it develops. Now, a lot of people are going to say, wait a second, aren't you hyping up Lamar Jackson? This isn't a good Lamar Jackson play. He ran through the wide open gap. Because, look, as you see, basically just walks into the end zone for a touchdown there. But, again, part of how this works is because he can do that. Part of why this is a play that, they can run is because he can run this play. So while he doesn't necessarily deserve a ton of credit for what he did on this specific play, the fact that this is even a play call in the first place is only because you have Lamar Jackson. You don't do this when Tom Brady's your quarterback, right? This one's another one. A good play to kind of showcase why it's so valuable to have a quarterback who can run with the football, I think, I've circled that Cleveland Brown player right there. In a typical situation, that guy would be unblocked, right? And realistically, you wouldn't leave that guy unblocked. You would leave someone else unblocked over the field. But because Lamar Jackson is going to be the one running the football, you now have a halfback you can play with. So the halfback's going to run up and block the player who I have circled, meaning Lamar runs out towards the outside, and instead of a typical situation where you have to leave someone unblocked, when a quarterback runs with the football, you don't, right? I mean, there's a safety deep, only 6 yards deep because it's at the goal line, but still, there's a safety who is further deep. That's kind of the guy who's quote-unquote on Lamar. You then have 10 blockers for the other 10 defenders. If everyone makes their blocks, it can work. Again, this play is going to develop. This one is well blocked as well. Lamar had to be a little bit patient and waiting for it to develop. There is a lane. It's not super open, but again, you expect Lamar to make this touchdown. Watch how he quickly gets in and he kind of uses his speed to avoid getting hit and is able to get into the end zone that way. These are just types of plays that, again, they might not seem overly impressive, but that's part of the point, right? Is it can be a lot easier to get touchdowns this way, in part because of Lamar's value. But let's go over to the passing game, because I really think that's where he shined in this one. Passing game was as good as we've seen Lamar, and that's saying something, because again, I'm very high on Lamar's passing. I think it's very good. He was outstanding as a thrower in this football game. This is a zone coverage play where, Mark Andrews' route, pretty good route against this concept. Since there's a play action, a lot of times those over-the-middle routes can be really deadly as, linebackers move in, throw over the top of them, that kind of stuff. So because it's sort of faking as though it's over the middle, but then goes towards the sideline, it can get open. However, when Lamar takes the snap, he's going to run a play action, and there's pressure right in his face. So, okay, didn't really work out so well this time. Well, no, watch Lamar be able to sidestep him, throws across his body, makes the throw to Andrews, and then breaks the tackle and gets more yards after the catch. Great stuff from Andrews, but great stuff from Lamar Jackson. And these are the kind of things that he is capable of doing, and not just doing, but doing consistently. This one's another one where this is a great throw from Lamar. He had some just traditional great throws, I thought, in this one. This is a man coverage play, and it's just a simple concept, right? You're just going to have essentially just a pick play, rub route, however you want to call it. You have, the only eligible receiver. I guess there's two eligible receivers lined up to Lamar's left. One is a halfback, one is a wide receiver. You have the wide receiver essentially just try and get in the way of the defender who's going to be covering the halfback. It's very similar to something you'll see in basketball, right? It's a pick play. Now, it is kind of illegal in football to do it. You can't just straight up, run a pick and, run into them. But as long as you don't go 1 yard past the line of scrimmage, you are allowed to make contact. Again, there's it's a bit complicated, but for the most part, you can kind of do this, again, as long as you're not going past 1 yard to line of scrimmage, or as long as you're making it seem as though you're running a route. However, when this play begins, the Cleveland defender kind of goes around to pick play pretty well and is able to still not give up a ton of space on this play. So while Lamar's still going to make the throw, kind of have to, 3rd down and 6, it could try to get to a next read. And, there is Mark Andrews who's open on this play, but Lamar's already throwing at the other side of the field. Got to make your decision quickly here. I think that's the right move. And watch this ball from Lamar. I mean, that's just exactly where you'd want to see it put. That's not an inch in any direction away from where you would rather see it put. Like, that's perfectly on the money from Lamar Jackson in a big spot on 3rd down and 6. And this wasn't even his most impressive throw of the day, in my opinion. Like, we have to go over to this one now. So since they converted on that 3rd down, it set up, this play at the end of the half. 3rd down and 5. You have Mark Andrews trying to get towards the corner of the end zone. Hopefully he can get into a gap in coverage in that direction. Okay, we'll see how it works. Lamar's going to take the snap, and a couple things to note. For one, there is pressure coming towards Lamar, but there does appear to be a window for Andrews. But again, it's tough. You can't really throw a bullet right here. It's going to be hard because Lamar's going to have to throw off his back foot. On top of it, it's zone coverage, so a lot of Cleveland defenders are playing Lamar Jackson. So if he tries to make this throw, it's just going to be a difficult one to get there. But look at this throw. I mean, it's a thing of beauty. I mean, it reminds you of that Ben Roethlisberger throw in the Super Bowl. Sorry to bring up a Steelers winning Super Bowl in a Ravens video. I do apologize to all the Ravens fans out there, but I mean, it's a similar play, and it's just outstanding stuff from Lamar Jackson. So yeah, I mean, as a whole, really good stuff so far from Lamar, and I think that I would say that this has been a pretty impressive start to the season. I mean, obviously the Week 1 was a bit disappointing, but I think, in hindsight, we kind of look at that now as, not disappointing, but like underwhelming is probably the better way to phrase it when they played Houston. Like here, I'll pull up the stats just so we have a way to look at it. Not the most impressive Week 1 performance, but again, kind of looking back at it, it does seem like, maybe Houston's actually, better than we thought. And same thing with like the Week 3, which obviously was a disappointment, but like maybe Indianapolis is better than we thought. Like they, both those two teams have actually had a pretty good start to the year. Cincinnati, who maybe is worse than we thought, so maybe that's not as impressive, but now another win on Cleveland. And again, we can sit here and talk all we want about how, they didn't have Deshaun Watson. Well, the whole point of this Cleveland team is supposed to be their defense. Like the no Deshaun Watson thing is an excuse for the offense, for sure it is. But like the defense still, Lamar looked pretty great against them. So, that's still promising if you are a Ravens fan, in my opinion. So, good stuff from him, a passer rating of 142.5 in this football game. And again, Indianapolis, they still probably were the better team and should have won that game. They could easily be 4-0 right now. Obviously, that one stings a little bit. But as a whole, I would say this has been a good start from Lamar Jackson. And I think that we're, again, seeing to me, this is his best game for sure. No doubt about it so far this year. But I think we're starting to see more and more of that MVP guy. And, as I said, I thought last year he actually maybe had his most complete year as a passer before the injury. So I'm not shocked to see this whatsoever from Lamar. It's really good stuff, and it's exciting to see, I think, if you're a Ravens fan. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on Lamar and his performance. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.